Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. I stepped off the plane, feeling the rush of the city. Air hit my skin. The thrill of the last 6 weeks still coursed through my veins, a secret fire burning deep within me. Colombia had been more than just an escape. It was a revelation. The passion, the danger, the raw intensity of my affair with Damien had reminded me of who I was before I became Elliot's wife, before I was caged by routine and the dull predictability of a faithful husband. Elliot. The thought of him barely stirred guilt in me. I had spent years resenting his quiet loyalty, his unwillingness to challenge me, his devotion that felt suffocating rather than reassuring. I had convinced myself that what I had done was justified. And why not? Elliot had his own secrets, his own past transgressions. I had discovered them years ago, the hushed phone calls, the deployment letters that hinted at more than just military camaraderie, the stories he never told me in full. I had never confronted him, but deep down, I had known. That was enough for me to justify my own indiscretions. So, as I strolled into the airport, chin held high, lips curled into a smirk, I felt untouchable. Damien was a fling, nothing more. I had tasted fire, but now it was time to return to the safety of home, to reclaim my rightful place as the woman Elliot would never leave. But something was off. There was no message from Elliot. No call. Not even a text. That was strange. He always reached out, always checked in, even when he was mad at me. I shrugged it off. He was probably sulking. Let him. He would come around, just like he always did. By the time I reached the Ambassador Hotel, my confidence was still intact. I had expected Elliot to be there, waiting, angry, desperate to have me back. Instead, I was met with silence. The hotel lobby was eerily quiet as I walked to the front desk. Then one by one, my credit cards were declined. I frowned, my pulse spiking. I forced a laugh, turning to the clerk. There must be some mistake. Try again. But there was no mistake. Something was very, very wrong. Then, a man in a dark suit approached me, his face expressionless. "Mrs. Bennett," he asked. I swallowed hard, my voice sharp. "Yes." He handed me a manila envelope. "Your husband wanted you to have this." I grabbed it, my fingers suddenly clammy. My heart pounded as I tore it open, my eyes scanning the first line of the letter. And then the world fell apart beneath me. The letter was typed, cold, and emotionless. Elliot's name was neatly signed at the bottom, but it didn't feel like my husband's words. It felt like the words of a stranger. "You justified your actions by assuming I had an affair while stationed in Iraq. I did not. Our single moment of weakness never crossed the line into infidelity. But you did not afford me the same restraint. You thought I would always forgive you. You thought I would always wait. But I made my choice. I am leaving, Evelyn. Permanently. I have drained every account, sold the house, cut the cards. Everything is gone. Your lover, Damien? He will suffer too. I've sent the hospital evidence of your relationship. By Monday morning, neither of you will have jobs. I have already told our children the truth. They begged me not to cut you off. I told them I would call you as often as you called me over the last 6 weeks. 0 times. I'm not divorcing you. If you want out, file for abandonment. I won't contest. But I have taken what I need. The house, the money, the children's respect. Oh, and I left you a gift. A $500 Visa gift card. That's all you have left. Enjoy your freedom, Evelyn. It's all yours now." My hands trembled. My breath came in short gasps. I clutched the letter, rage, humiliation, and disbelief twisting inside me like a knife. I had always thought Elliot was weak, that he was soft, passive, predictable. But the man who wrote this letter? This was not a man who had been broken. This was a man who had been reborn in fire. I stood frozen in the hotel lobby, my mind reeling. The whispers around me felt suffocating, the weight of judgment pressing down like an avalanche. I tried to call Elliot. Disconnected. I tried to check my accounts. Locked out. I tried to call my children. Straight to voicemail. Panic set in, my stomach twisting into knots. I turned to the hotel clerk, forcing a tight smile. "I need a room." "We accept cash, ma'am, but we require a deposit and valid ID." I dug through my purse. Nothing. Nothing except the humiliating, mocking Visa gift card Elliot had left me. I slammed it onto the counter. Try this. The transaction went through. I had one night. As I took the elevator up to room 1010, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back at me wasn't the same person who had boarded that plane 6 weeks ago. This woman was cornered, trapped, losing control. And as much as I wanted to blame Elliot for everything, a whisper of doubt curled through my mind. Had I underestimated him? Had I created my own destruction? Had I pushed him so far that he had transformed into something dangerous? I clenched my fists. No, this wasn't over. Elliot had taken everything from me. My reputation, my money, my home, my pride. But he had made one mistake. He hadn't taken my rage, and I would use it to burn him down. I sat on the edge of the stiff hotel bed, gripping Elliot's letter so hard it crumpled in my shaking hands. The mocking gift card lay beside me on a nightstand, its pathetic balance the only thing keeping me off the streets. The humiliation burned hot and deep. He had planned this. Elliot wasn't acting on impulse. This wasn't a messy, emotional reaction. It was calculated, deliberate, devastating. He had been planning his exit long before I even stepped foot in Colombia. How long had he known? How long had he been watching me, waiting, setting the trap? I should have seen this coming. Instead, I had convinced myself that Elliot was weak, boring, predictable. I had been wrong. And now, I was the one left gasping for air. Homeless, jobless, and ruined. But it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I grabbed my phone, my fingers dialing my son's number. Voicemail. My daughter's number. Straight to voicemail. Elliot had poisoned them against me. He had fed them his side of the story first. And now, I was the villain. I tried my closest friends next. One after another, they ignored me. The only one who picked up was Melanie, my work friend, my drinking buddy, the one who had always encouraged my flings. Evelyn. Her voice was tight, uncertain. Melanie, thank God. I can't talk to you. My breath hitched. What? I'm sorry. You become toxic. Toxic? My stomach twisted. Mel, please. Rick sent the emails. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Everyone has seen them, Evelyn. The pictures. The videos. There's nothing I can do. Click. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, my pulse pounding. He had sent the evidence to everyone. Not just my boss, not just the HR department, everyone. Every colleague, every mutual friend, even church members. He wanted me to be a pariah, and he had succeeded. I arrived at the hospital the next morning, my heels clicking against the pristine floors, my head held high despite the storm raging inside me. People stared. Some whispered. Others just looked away. But I kept walking, my confidence forced but unshaken. Because I wasn't just here to plead for my job. I was here to fight for my survival. I reached the HR department, where a stone-faced woman named Ms. Patterson greeted me with an expression of barely concealed disgust. Evelyn, she said coolly, we were expecting you. I forced a smile. Let's cut to the chase. My husband is a bitter, vengeful man. You don't have to entertain his pathetic games. Ms. Patterson folded her hands over a thick folder. Your husband provided substantial evidence. Photos, screenshots of texts, videos. I swallowed hard. And, she said flatly, this hospital has a morality clause. Engaging in conduct that damages the hospital's reputation is grounds for termination. I felt the floor beneath me tilt. Wait, no, this isn't. We've placed you on immediate suspension, pending termination. She slid an envelope across the desk. I suggest you make arrangements. I stared at the envelope. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. But it was. Elliot had won the first round. But the game wasn't over. Not yet. As I walked out of the hospital, rage burned through me like wildfire. Elliot had destroyed my job, my reputation, my finances. But I still had one advantage. I knew who he was, and I knew exactly how to find him. I dug through my contacts, scrolling until I found Ferris, Elliot's old military friend. Ferris had always been loyal to Elliot, but he had also been reckless. And if there was one thing I had learned about men like Ferris, it was that they had weak spots. I hit dial. Hello. Ferris. I purred, forcing warmth into my voice. It's Evelyn. Silence. Then a sigh. Evelyn, I can't. I just need to talk. My voice softened. Please. He exhaled. I don't know where Elliot is. I smiled. Liar. I don't need an address. Just a clue. More silence. Then, last I heard, he was headed for Montana. Bingo. I grinned. Thank you, Ferris. You're a lifesaver. By the time I reached Montana, my resources were paper thin. The $500 Elliot had left me was nearly gone. I was living in a rundown motel, eating gas station sandwiches, and relying on the last scraps of my pride to keep going. But it didn't matter, because I had one goal: find Elliot. And when I did, I would make him regret every second of this. It took days of searching, but I finally found him. A quiet cabin in the woods, hidden away like a king in exile. But he wasn't alone, because she was there. A woman. Young. Pretty. Smiling. Elliot's new life. And that's when I realized this wasn't just revenge. This was his rebirth. And I was going to burn it to the ground. I crouched behind the thick trees, watching the cozy cabin nestled deep in Montana's wilderness. It was the kind of place people retreated to for peace, for quiet. A sanctuary. And Elliot had made his hideout. My pulse pounded as I studied the scene in front of me. She was there. A woman, younger than me, stepping out onto the porch with a carefree smile. She had long, blonde hair, sun-kissed skin, and a body that made it clear she had never gone through the stress of marriage, betrayal, and revenge. I clenched my fists. Elliot hadn't just left me. He had replaced me. My husband, the man I had underestimated, mocked, cheated on, was living an entirely new life. While I was rotting in a dingy motel, eating gas station food, drowning in humiliation, he was here. Happy. Relaxed. Free. No, I wouldn't allow it. I came here for war, and I was going to make damn sure he felt every second of it. I didn't wait. I walked straight up the cabin steps, knocking hard on the wooden door. The blonde woman opened it, her smile immediately fading when she saw me. Can I help you? I smirked. I'm looking for Elliot. She hesitated, her fingers tightening around the edge of the door. He's not here. I laughed, stepping forward until we were nearly chest to chest. Sweetheart, do I look stupid to you? She bristled. Who are you? I leaned in, lowering my voice to a whisper. I'm his wife. The color drained from her face. And then, Evelyn. His voice. I turned, and there he was, Elliot, standing at the top of the stairs, arms crossed, completely unshaken. I expected shock. I expected panic. But no, his expression was calm, controlled. Like he had been expecting me. Like he had already won. The blonde girl, his new toy, looked between us, her face pale. Elliot, she whispered. He exhaled, rubbing his temple. Go inside, Claire. Claire. So that was her name. I watched her hesitate, then disappear into the house like a good little mistress. And then it was just me and Elliot. I took a step forward, my heels digging into the wooden porch. You really thought I wouldn't find you? He chuckled. Chuckled. Evelyn, he said, voice dripping with amusement. I was wondering when you'd show up. I froze. This wasn't the Elliot I had left behind. Gone was the man who worshipped me, chased me, bent to my will. This man was cold, confident, and in control. And for the first time since this war began, I felt something new. Fear. I have nothing left. I spat, stepping closer. You took everything. My job, my money, my home. You even turned my own children against me. Elliot didn't blink. I didn't turn them against you. His voice was casual, almost bored. You did that yourself. Rage ignited in my chest. You think you're untouchable. I hissed. You think this is over? His lips curled. Oh, Evelyn. It hasn't even begun. And that's when I saw it. A stack of papers sitting on a nearby table. I snatched them up, flipping through the pages. And my blood ran cold. A legal document. A petition for divorce. My name, Evelyn Bennett. His signature at the bottom. You said you wouldn't divorce me. I whispered. Elliot smirked. And you said you loved me. I felt the ground tilt beneath me. I had come here for revenge. But Elliot had been planning something bigger. Something worse. And I had walked straight into his trap. You're filing for divorce? My voice cracked. And I hated how weak I sounded. Elliot shrugged. Did you think I was going to stay legally tied to you forever? I swallowed hard. You said if I wanted out, I'd have to file. I changed my mind. Just like that. I gritted my teeth. He was in control. I had expected him to be broken, regretful, but he was thriving. He had taken everything from me, and now he was taking away the last bit of power I had left, the ability to leave on my terms. You don't get to win, I growled. Elliot tilted his head, amused. I already have. I should have walked away. I should have let him go. But I couldn't. Because I wasn't just losing Elliot. I was losing the war. So I did what I'd always done. I played dirty. You love her? I asked, nodding toward the house. Elliot's jaw tightened. That's none of your business. I smirked. Oh, but it is. And then I pulled out my phone and pressed play. The video of Elliot from years ago. A moment of weakness. A moment of temptation. The proof that despite everything, he wasn't so perfect after all. His eyes darkened. You think that changes anything? He murmured. I grinned. I think it evens the playing field. I left Montana that night, but not before planting the seed of chaos. I sent the video to Claire, to Elliot's new life, and by morning, I had a message waiting for me. From Elliot. Only 2 words. Game on. The next week was a war zone. Elliot countered. Hard. Bank accounts I tried to open. Shut down. Job applications. Sabotaged. My rental history. Erased. I was being systematically erased. And the worst part, he was enjoying it. I had 1 card left to play. The affair. Not mine. His. I dug deeper. Found every mistake, every weakness. And when I was ready, I launched the final attack. Elliot wasn't untouchable. And I proved it. In the end, I exposed him. I turned the tables. And when he finally called me, his voice wasn't amused anymore. It was furious. You don't know when to quit, he growled. I smiled. I learned from the best. In the end, neither of us won. We both lost everything. But we had one thing left. Each other. Because love and hate, they're the same damn thing. And I would rather burn with him than let him go. Game over.